Ladies and gentlemen, hello, good morning. I'm Jakub Jedlinský, teacher of university class Bitcoin and blockchain. Today, we are live on a discussion with our guest, Jiří Herzán, a former student of our university and one of the first employees at BTC Suisse. Thank you very much, Jiří, for accepting our invitation. The discussion is part of our practical seminar Bitcoin and Blockchain that is held on Prague University of Business and Economics, Faculty of International Relations. We will be streaming or recording at least these discussions. This is the last one, the fifth week. And our guests are experts from the crypto industry. There is a moderating team. It should be 4 people pre-selected from our students. Please raise your hands, moderating team. I'm just checking that everyone is here. Eileen, at least. Okay, good, fine. The moderating team is here. Due to the GDPR regulation of the university, we can only be capturing the teachers and the guests, not the students, not even the moderating team, unfortunately. So in case that you want to be seen in the videos, you have to wear the Guy Fawkes mask. Last thing, organization stuff. Right after this session, you students will be writing a test. I will send a link to the test to our group's meeting here in Microsoft Teams. You will have 15 minutes to finish it. Also, there is the cryptocurrency investment competition that continues till Sunday 9 p.m. Sunday 9 p.m. Central European Time, and the evaluation of the investment competition will be finished next week. All right, moderation team, the floor is yours.
Hi, Jiří. I would like to welcome you here on behalf of the whole moderation team. I would like to introduce the structure of the interview. We would like to begin with some questions to your studies. Then we would like to move to questions about your company. Then some work-related questions, and at the end, some personal questions. So I would like to ask you the first question. So, what were you studying on BTC and how and why you moved to Switzerland?
All right, I will start. Well, first of all, just let me thank you for inviting me for this lecture and the discussion. So at BTC or University of Economics, I studied applied informatics. It was a bachelor course, and this is also where I started to be deeply involved with the Bitcoin protocol. Then afterwards, when I finished my bachelor studies, I did not move directly to Switzerland. I actually moved to Liechtenstein, which is a tiny country between Austria and Switzerland, but they have a very good relationships with Switzerland, so it's kind of considered as a canton of Switzerland, but an independent one. And I studied at the University of Liechtenstein, and there I studied information systems, and with focus, or the major was data science. I would not call myself a data scientist, though.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I would like to ask you another question. I know that you have selected a topic related to Bitcoin as your main topic for your bachelor thesis. And can I ask you what went wrong when you defended your bachelor thesis on Bitcoin, and how did you like to write about it? Was it interesting for you, and what was interesting for you about it?
Okay. I will maybe go like one step back how I got into Bitcoin. It is very closely connected with the bachelor thesis, but it was not the first time I heard about Bitcoin. First time I heard about Bitcoin was probably in 2011 or so. I was a high school student still, and I was actually in USA as an exchange student at the time. And I really had no idea what it is, how it works. I just read about it for the first time because I generally like computers, technologies, everything around it. And at the time, as I said, I had really no money. I was in a high school, and I really did not invest or like did not research it more. It was also more of a question if I want to, I don't know, go out with friends to have a meal, or have some fun, or buy, I don't know, a toy or something, or like start investing. So obviously, like the other things won compared to investments. Then I did not really hear about Bitcoin for a very long time until I got to Bashar, and it was a time about the bachelor thesis, and I wanted to actually write at the time about the anonymity on the internet, and I found my supervisor, Thomas Klima, and I came to him and I asked him about the topic, and he told me that he actually supervised a thesis on a similar topic before, and that it would be very hard for me to bring actually something new in that area. And then I asked him for a recommendation if he could recommend me something else, and then he asked me, what about Bitcoin? Then I looked at him and I said, yeah, cool, but I know nothing about it. And then he replied, well, me neither. And this is actually how it started. Then I went home, well, not home, to the dormitories actually. I opened my computer and I started reading and studying. Really, between few days, I actually really started to like the topic, and I became obsessed. I wrote the thesis rather quickly. And you asked me why I had problems with the defending of the thesis. I did not have a problem to defend the thesis, but I failed the major exam. In Czechia, it's usually connected that you have a major field exam. So I pick a question and simply the results were, I would say, poor. And I guess as a result, I also got some hard time with defending the thesis. But in the end, I defended the thesis on the first try. I only had to repeat the major exam afterwards. I guess, I don't want to really complain about it. I had a great time at the University of Economics. It was, just, it can happen to anyone. I take it, as a part of my life. And I guess it was also the reason why I then decided to move to Liechtenstein, because I had to wait a half year to be able to retake the exam. And then I was not able to directly continue with my master's. So I was looking for other options. And besides that, I also always wanted to study abroad again after my experience from United States. Not that I would not like Czechia, I actually love Czech Republic and also the University of Economics, but simply it was somewhere inside of me that I just wanted to try it out. So yeah, that was the main reasoning why I moved to Liechtenstein, and then I just continued with studying Bitcoin and be generally interested in it. But for a very long time, it was hobby. I could really never imagine that it will actually eventually become my regular job.
Thank you. I would like to ask you one more question. I knew you said that you have studied in Liechtenstein, and why have you chosen the University of Liechtenstein? I know it's a really small university. I was there once, like to look there, and it's really nice. But I would like to ask you, what was the main reason why have you chosen this university and not some other in Switzerland, for example? Or
Okay. I would say that many things in my life are not really organized or planned. Those things just happen, and it's really like, even like applying to University of Economics, it's not like I would like do research on universities. I really spent some time on it, applied, got accepted. And with Liechtenstein, it was something very, very similar. I had a friend at the dormitory, and he went there for Erasmus, or maybe it was not Erasmus, but some similar program, some, I think, Nordic funds, or something similar. It simply was a partner university of Bashar. And he came back, and then we were just discussing, my situation and things like that. And he told me, hey, Jiří, I actually really liked it there. It's very like the course of the studies, or the major, is very similar as what you have been doing at Bashar. So I think that the transfer from one university to other would not be that hard. And really, again, without much of thinking, I simply applied to that university and got accepted. And the big benefit was that I was simply able to start right away.
yeah, I like it. I'm also thinking about studying in Liechtenstein, my master's, so I was interested in this question.
I can only recommend it. If you have some more questions about it, I can give you more information.
All righty. And when you compare your study experience from Bershand with the one from University of Liechtenstein, which one would you consider more helpful for your career now? Which?
I cannot say that one is really better than the other. I like both of them, but I have to admit that they are really different. Prague is, or University of Economics in Prague is a huge university. I think that there is around 20,000 students. And I remember when I was studying the applied informatics, I think there was like 600 or 700 of us. And I knew a really small group of people, like, that were my friends that I usually try to take the courses with, etc. And it was kind of anonymous, I would say, in a way. I would say that maybe the courses themselves were a little bit harder at University of Economics. But then I would say that the thesis was maybe not so hard to do. At BTC, I would say we were like a very small group. I think it was like 36 students from 30 different countries. You didn't really have other colleagues or really students like from Liechtenstein. Usually people from Liechtenstein try to go abroad because it's such a small country. But I met really people from all different countries, be it from United States, from Africa, from Australia, even like really like from wherever you can imagine, Asians, like really like from everywhere. So it was very good for connections, like really like meeting people from everywhere. And then what I would say is also good about Liechtenstein is a position. It's very well connected to Switzerland. So if you are planning to stay in Switzerland for some time, and there are good reasons why people might want to go there, especially in young age, it's a really great place to start from.
Okay, let me ask you my last question. So how do you actually like living in Switzerland now? And when you compare it to Liechtenstein and Czech Republic, which country do you prefer for living?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I enjoyed staying in Liechtenstein, but there I felt a little bit detached from everything. It's a really tiny country. The capital has, I think, like 4,000 or 5,000 people, so it's more like a village. So it was great for studies. I had a great fun, and we were really a great group of people. So I really enjoyed it in that way. Then in Switzerland, that was also tough because at the beginning, as we were a startup, I was super busy. So I didn't really have time for anything else. I was trying to finalize my studies because I actually started to work at Bitcoin Suisse in my last year of my studies. So I was working like a lot, like probably like 150% of like a normal work hours, maybe even more. And then I had my studies next to it. So it wasn't really like I would not really recommend people to do that. I finalized my studies, but it was very tough. And then like I also had problems at my work. They didn't really like that I was like, focusing on other things as well. So it was tough to manage, but eventually I made it. And then, sorry, I kind of lost the traction now. What was your original question, actually? If I like living in Switzerland, sorry. Yeah, I really enjoyed it there. I also like made friends there, but it doesn't feel like home to me. So for that reason, I believe that I will stay in the area for some more time, years maybe. I don't really know. As you know, I don't really plan things much. But eventually, I believe that I will move back to Czechia just because it feels like my home still.
Thank you for your answers. Now we will move to some questions about the company you work for, and I would like to give my word to Tomáš.
Hello, Jiří. As David has mentioned, in this section we are going to talk more about a company itself. So let me ask you my first question. If you could perhaps say a few words about the general concept of the company. What does the Bitcoin Suisse specialize in, and what are the main projects? So that's the first.
All right, yeah, I will try to introduce the company. I think it's very important to mention that Bitcoin Suisse does not equal to Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin protocol and Bitcoin Suisse is a different thing. I can also maybe then talk a little bit of the name, why it's called Bitcoin Suisse and nothing else. But to answer your question, what the company does, actually, the number one business stream and revenue is brokerage. Prime brokerage. We don't specialize on retail or like a smaller clients, but really at big institutions and like high net worth individuals, etc. The probably biggest advantage that we have is our smart routing engine, which we use, and we also co-own. We have a stake in the company that developed it. It allows us to be connected to all major crypto exchanges and give best execution to our clients. So whatever they want to trade, which is offered by us, we always check all the exchanges and then simply execute on the best one. Or if it's a very high amount, which could potentially move the price on like one exchange or other, we simply can distribute the load among all the crypto exchanges. So we cannot, we try not to manipulate the markets with the high volume orders. So this is probably the main business stream. Then we also offer custody for our customers, which means that we have a hyper secure storage solution where our customers can store their crypto assets. We currently have around 4 billion or over 4 billion under assets under management in cryptocurrencies solo. There are many things you can do with this solution. You usually have like multiple approvers and stages, so there is like no single point of failure. So you could, I don't know, kidnap someone from the company and try to get some funds or anything like that. You always need a multiple signatures, so it's kind of a multi-sig but a solution. Then we are a staking provider, one of the biggest globally. Ether staking, for example, we were, I think, one of the first, or maybe even the first provider that allowed like centralized or staking as a service of ETH2. And at the beginning, we were also, I think, one of the biggest, or if not the biggest as well. This is a really successful product that we have launched only last year, and then we also offer it for other assets. And then we have some smaller projects on a site as well. For example, my project, it's crypto payments, or we recently renamed it, rebranded it to BTC Suisse Pay. And that's pretty much a solution that allows merchants to offer goods or services and receive payments in cryptocurrencies. Then there are other smaller things, but they are at the moment insignificant.
Okay, I see. Thank you for your answer. Okay, well, another question would be, perhaps you could tell us how is it like to be at the start from the startup in this case. What was the journey in your case? And oh yeah, so that's all for this question.
Okay, yeah, I can try to describe that. Well, when I was a student at Uni or University of Liechtenstein, I was always somehow seeking for a job, or like trying to think what I will do once the university is over. And I had a friend at the university at the dormitory, and he was from Denmark. And one day he came to me and said, "Hey, Jiří, I know that you are in those cryptocurrencies, and I actually know some Danish people. They have a small company in Zug, or like in Canton of Zug. The company like relocated a few times because as we grow massively. But they are currently looking for more people, and maybe you want to get an introduction." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, sure, of course, like send me there." So I sent them my CV, and they called me like really few hours after I sent it out and said if I could come. And I don't think that my CV was so perfect, but the company at the time was really desperate for people, but also very young. So I don't think that they could really afford to pay a real like Swiss professional employee. So they were like, I think I was a perfect candidate, more from that aspect, that I would be like so good at in crypto related stuff. Anyways, I went for an interview. It was old office we had there. I came there, stood up. I knocked the door or ring the bell. My former boss opened the door. I looked at him. He was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and like I looked next to him, there was a huge pile of pizza boxes of his height, like really like it was like even. And then like they invited me in. There was Niklas Nikolaisen also, like the CEO of the company, or co-CEO now. And they told me, "Hey, take him to the conference room." And I was like, "Yeah, wow, conference room, like it seems cool." And then they took me there, and it was like really like a table full of sorry to say so, but like really full of shit of like everything you can imagine. And then like they start to clean in front of me, and then I sit down, and it wasn't a real interview as I had before. It was more like discussions about what I do, what I can do, like if I like have some crypto understanding, etc. Maybe like 45 minutes or so. And then they just said, hey, Jiří, we are just going for a beer. Would you like to join us? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. So yeah, I got a beer or like, you know, some other things afterwards with my colleagues, and that's how it started. I got back to Liechtenstein, and they called me pretty much the next day saying, where can I start? I had a different job at the time, so I had to resign from that one. So it took next 3 months or so until I was able to relocate to Switzerland. But that's then how I started, which was August 2017, and that was like a really bull market, like the previous one, not the one where we are right now, and it was just crazy. We got business offers from everywhere, like really from all the areas. We were doing some ICOs. I don't know if you have heard about Tezos, like part of the sale was handled by us, Zelica, SingularityNet, yeah, many others. Like it was really like one after another. And like me, a person that like really never had much money in my hands, like really living a standard student life, I was suddenly handling millions and tens of millions just like floating through my hands. And I was doing it all the time, and I don't think I even like at the time realized like what I was actually doing. It was just a crazy thing, and we were working a lot. Like really, I woke up, went to the office, was working till the evening, and then almost every night we would go for, I don't know, dinner with the company, get back to the apartment, and work again. And this was like pretty much the first year. At the time, we started to heavily invest like the profits that we made into automation of the processes and new information systems. And that was somehow natural to me. So I kind of started with more of a client services, helping like with that, because this is simply what was needed. But very quickly, like when we start with the developments and first ideas, I was always, you know, somehow helping with those processes, arranging that, then helping with the development, and really very quickly I became responsible for the development of our internal information systems. And then I was switching from many different ones. The first one that I was actually working on was our ICO platform. It allowed clients to register, provide us the documents, and then fill in, you know, the crypto addresses where they can then receive the tokens, you know, handle the payments, etc. Then pretty much like once the ICO era was over, there was really no demand for this product anymore, and we just killed it. Like we no longer use it. Like the company spent probably 2 million or so on development of the product, and then like it's killed, because like it was really no need for it anymore. Then we move like to other you know businesses and opportunities, and we need like this customer onboarding is very important, especially in Switzerland. Switzerland is very strict jurisdiction in that area, in anti-money laundering rules and, you know, compliance, legal stuff, etc. It's much stricter there than in other European and, you know, global countries. Anyways, then my next project was really client management, or you could also call it probably a CRM with a public onboarding. So it was a system that really managed specifically that. And then I don't know, I kind of liked working on that, but it was not that anymore really crypto related. And I still like really like the crypto area and like, you know, the crypto stuff. So eventually the company decided to go into the payments topic, and I just volunteered that I would like to be responsible for that project. So we had to hire another person, which really took my responsibilities. And then I started working on the Bitcoin Swiss Pay or crypto payments, however you call it. This is like really like in a short few sentences saying like the story. But besides that, like I have witnessed the company to grow from 10, 12 people to 240 or so. We moved the offices 3 times. We have purchased like many more offices, so we are like at one location, but we have purchased 2 more like offices like in the same apartment, or not, sorry, like a complex of buildings. And yeah, the ride has been insane, like really to see the growth of the company, like how professional we became. We eventually started to hire like really top-notch Swiss bankers. And it's crazy, like imagine someone that worked for, I don't know, entire life, like for 30, 40 years at UBS, Credit Suisse, all of the like crazy Swiss banks, suddenly moves to yeah, company like Bitcoin Suisse.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting alongside with really nice first impression with the whole pizza and
Yeah.
that sounds really cool. Well, actually, you've kind of answered the following questions because I wanted to ask also about what are the perks, the specifics of establishing the business in Switzerland. You said that they're very strict. Is the business anyhow supported by the government? I also saw that you guys offer crypto franc, which is like the Swiss stablecoin. Maybe you can say a couple words about it. So.
Yeah, I can try to talk about it. Why is it a good place to start the business from? I think that a good benefit is taxation, but probably the main reason why the company is there and not anywhere else is because the founder of the company, Niklas Nikolaisen, he was working at Credit Suisse prior he started Bitcoin Suisse. So maybe I will try to talk a little bit about that. The story is that he was working at Credit Suisse, I think, as a software engineer, software developer, something like that. And then he also got really interested in Bitcoin. I think it was around 2010, 11, like really long time ago. And then eventually he tried to convince his managers at Credit Suisse to start a branch that would really specialize in crypto assets, Bitcoin, and really try to build some products around it, or at least like research it. And he was not successful. So eventually he started his company. He was still, I think, working there. And the main reason why it's then called Bitcoin Suisse is because it's Credit Suisse. So he just wanted to make a parallel to it. There is Credit Suisse, so I will have Bitcoin Suisse. Then the very early years, I think, were quite tough for the company. They were just surviving. I know that there was one client that was heavily using the services, and there was a time, I think, I'm not sure when exactly, 15 maybe or so, 2015, where they just came to him, Niklas Nikolaisen, and there were like two other founders, young guys, like 1 year older than me. I think that now they are around 30 or below 30 even. And they just told him, hey, we need to close the shop. We no longer can provide you services. And he said that he really needs us. So he eventually invested in the company. That was like a first external help that we had. And he's a strong investor. I'm not really sure if I can name him here. You can of course find him in the share registers of the company, but he doesn't really publicly connects him with Bitcoin Suisse a lot. But this was really help. And then it just picked up. I think we were really the first company in so-called crypto valley, like it's the area around Zug, which is kind of parallel to a so-called Silicon Valley. And the main benefit of starting a crypto company in Switzerland is probably some existing legislation. This is really different to other countries. There are also there is some legislation in Liechtenstein existing, probably even more extended. And we have also started a subsidiary there just because of that reason, that we might eventually want to run some business or some areas of the business from Liechtenstein as well.
Well, right. Thank you very much. Well, we kind of also touched on the following section, and right now I'll pass the floor to Mark, and I think we're going to talk about more about your position and the role in your company. So thank you.
All right.
Hello. Yeah, you have already started answering the questions regarding the position. So as I could understand, you start with the clients, working with clients at the beginning. And what is your current position and your responsibilities?
All right. So I'm a product owner of the Bitcoin Suisse Pay product. What my main responsibility is to talk with the stakeholders from other departments, be it our mid-office department, which pretty much takes care of the execution of and handling of the all transfers, or our legal and compliance, or yeah, it can be any other. Also, our customers or clients that are actually using the products that I manage. I simply talk to them and try to understand the needs that they have. They simply need, the systems to behave in a certain way. They need to have access to some data. They require or request new features. Same applies to the end customers or the merchants that we have. They come and say, hey, your solution is good, but please, this would be very important feature for me, or maybe there might be even really totally new partners that we have. Currently, my biggest project that I'm working on is integration with 6 payment services / Worldline, which is the biggest payment processor in Europe, and I think second or third globally. If you would go to any store in Czechia or in Europe, there is a good chance that the terminal that you pay with credit card with or through will have written Worldline or Ingenico on it. And simply this is the partner that we are trying to currently integrate with. With them, we are launching e-commerce pretty soon. We have been working on that. Now I'm not really sure if I was supposed to mention that. Okay, maybe I will have to discuss then, if this might need to be cut out. Sorry for saying so. But I think it might be public information anyway. Let's discuss it afterwards. I need to check. But anyways, what we are working on them is simply try to integrate crypto payments to standard payments offering to merchants. So for merchants, they just integrate Worldline or SPS solution. And one of the options that you have there, besides, credit card and other options or bank transfer or whatever, will be simply crypto payments. And you don't really know that you are, for example, interacting with BTC Suisse, or it says powered by BTC Suisse, but simply we run all the technology, but they are just integrated through us. So they would be considered as one of the stakeholders. So I meet with all of those people. I try to complete all the requirements, document it, and then I try to deliver those to our developers, our development team. Then I try to prioritize those things. If there is hit, so if 2 different stakeholders say I need this or I need that, we always have a certain capacity on the development team. So I tell them, hey, this will be in 1 month, or this will be in half a year or so, because the development team is booked for other things. And then they start to screaming and say, hey, this is super important, we need it immediately. So then I need to align with other stakeholders and say, hey, if I do this, then everything else will be shifted right. So it's really a lot of communication and documentation of the requirements with the stakeholders, with the development team. Then, the development team develops something, it needs to be tested. So, enter the testing. I usually myself like to test the really new features and verify, that it's really meeting the expectations. Then I send it to the stakeholders for review. They come to me and say, hey, Jiří, this doesn't really work as I need it. This button should have been pink and it's green, and, why is, there this and that. So it's never ending story. And really, all of that is connected to crypto payments.
That's a very interesting position, I believe. And maybe could you tell us about some other exciting projects that you have worked on before?
Yeah, I would say that these crypto payments I like the most so far out of all of them. Yeah, I'm thinking. I also like the ICO times and the automation of the distribution of the tokens, where the clients were able to enter the address, and then the funds were sent to them in an automated way. So I really enjoy working with the crypto assets themselves. If I should now compare the past jobs, really interaction with legal and compliance topics for the client onboarding, etc. Yeah, it was cool, to try to make the onboarding as user friendly as possible, meeting all the legal requirements. but it's not as cool as the crypto payments or like, you know, the things around really like working physically with crypto assets that I enjoy really the most.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to ask, I have seen a position of junior product owner on your website. So I suppose it's like working under your position. So could you maybe tell us, is it really required that you have some technical background, especially for students like us who are from business university, and most of us probably don't have technical backgrounds? So could you tell us more about the responsibilities, and do we really have a chance to work?
I don't necessarily think that you need to have a technical background in order to be able to do this role, but it's a big advantage. I mean, myself, I'm not a developer, but I had 2 semesters of Java at BTC. I had some SQL. I had a little bit of networking. It just helps me to do the job. So like my role is really to understand the business side, the stakeholders, and try to translate it to the developers. And then also like the developers might have some inputs and try to again translate it to the business language. It might sound a little bit funny, but really those 2 words don't understand themselves. Like they really cannot directly communicate together. Like I can really confirm it, although it might be hard to believe. Like really, like if you put a developer and lawyer together in one room, like they will probably like just kill one another, because like they really speak totally different languages. So I think you might be able to do the job, but still simply having some kind of idea how programming works. You don't need to understand the code, like you don't need to be able to write it, but it's good if you simply know, like, you know, the process of the development. And I did not know much myself. I really like it was learning as we go. For a junior positions especially, like it's you for sure will be simply attached to more senior product owner, maybe even multiple. So you like I think that's what the junior product owners do. Like we usually have few, and if I need something to help with, I will simply reach out to him and he will help me eventually. Like once they learn about the processes, and I guess this might be also a little bit different in each company how the development works. We try to follow some Scrum Scrum agile methodologies, some sprints, plannings, etc. And I believe that eventually, like once you pick that up in very short time, you should be even able to somehow have your own product. It doesn't have to be a massive group of systems. It can be really a smaller microsystem or part of a system that you eventually get responsible for, and you really master it and understand it.
So I suppose we still have a chance to work in cryptocurrency.
No, really, like there is like you don't need to be a pure technical person to work with cryptocurrencies. I mean, look at BTC Suisse. Yes, we are really technically oriented. Like really, I don't know what is the ratio of the development and the other positions, but we still have like half of our company that does something totally different than development. Like you still, as I said, like you still need office employees that just check a standard fiat transactions. Or you have this customer onboarding, which really has like nearly like nothing to do with the crypto assets themselves. Or again, like legal and compliance stuff, where like those people also are like not really technically oriented.
I think we already started this question, but you are still one of the longest employed Bitcoin users. And how does it feel to see how the companies which started with just like small amount of people now has more than 200 employees? It's growing.
It's crazy. Like really, like I cannot describe it in any way. I have to say that I'm somehow proud of it, but I think that I was also extremely lucky, and not only me, but probably the founders as well. I think it's a combination of good timing, good luck, and dedication. Like it's a really incredible amount of work that has been done, and it's like I have like especially at the beginning, I always felt like oh my goodness, like all those regulations and things that we need to fulfill and do, like it's impossible. Like we cannot do that. Like they will just shut us down. And eventually I learned that the things are not as critical as it seemed to be. Like you really need to calm down and like don't take things personally, etc. But in the same time, it's probably the biggest motivator for me to see that the company is moving forward, and maybe we not always do the great decisions or the best ones, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, it's fine if you fail. We have, as I said, like we have invested in a product then that helped us to really make a lot of money, probably like dozens of millions. And then we continue developing that for another, maybe half a year or so, or maybe even a year. And then like we saw, okay, there is no really demand. Why are we like really spending, you know, hundreds of thousands each month on developing it? Just shut it down. And like, you know, you need to make those decisions very, very, very quickly. Also, other thing for me is I don't try to take ownership or, you know, like feel more important than others just because I'm at a company, you know, longer. Also, like, you know, like from probably outside world, like being at one company for 4 years is not that much. You know, like as I said, like we hired or Bitcoin Suisse hired top bankers. They have been in the banking and finance industry for decades. I cannot really compete with those guys. I need to respect them, and it's just, you know, fine for me to, you know, focus on my things. I really enjoy, you know, the responsibility of being a product owner on certain things, but I don't think that I have necessary skills to, you know, go to the top management. Top management. I think that, you know, like I need to respect that, like not be, and I can see it also from other founders of the company. Recently, my ex-boss, Fabian Hediger, he simply hired a professional manager. He was my boss, you know, head of research development, having, you know, a lot of product owners underneath him. And he really hired a professional guy that, you know, has much more experiences with him. And I think it's a right decision to do that. Again, with our founder, Niklas Nikolaisen, he was a solo CEO for a long time, but eventually he found Arthur Weiland, who has been working at all of the big Swiss banks you can imagine, to take the co-CEO role. Niklas Nikolaisen is still very active in the company. It's not like he doesn't show up. I think he works actually a lot. He's involved in pretty much everything, but you really need to not just try to greed the power and just, you know, like I want to be making decisions about everything. I think it's also very important to admit that you are young and you don't know anything, and there are people that are much more experienced, and you should just listen to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what are your future plans? Like maybe a future position that you're looking for, and if it's possible to share maybe some future big projects that you're working on or planning to work, but I'm not sure if it's allowed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot really talk much about it. It's not really a public information, but of course the company is looking ahead. You know, for example, with the brokerage and trading, there is a lot of competition. Like it wasn't there like few years ago, but like there is really a lot of different traders, brokers around. And we just cannot, you know, believe that if we have customers and, you know, they have been with us for a few years, that they will be there forever. You know, if somebody offers them maybe similar service at better rates, they just might consider, you know, leaving us and move somewhere else. So we are really constantly looking around for new possibilities. And again, be it staking. Like staking has been really a great product at Bitcoin Suisse, and we can see it. Like I love decentralization and all around it, but many people, especially, I mean, like the end consumers and clients, they are not really able or willing to take the responsibility to, you know, hold the cryptocurrencies. Myself, like I have my hardware wallets and I, you know, store everything there or most of it, and I move it only like when I actually want to do some trades or transactions, you know, interact with some smart contracts. But many people, or the regular people, they are just like either not able to do it because it's technically too complex to them, or maybe they just don't want to do that. So I think that there will be always a place for centralized solutions where simply people say, hey, I really like Ether and I want to be, you know, part of the staking. So, you know, they send all the Ether to us and we just take care of everything. They don't have to worry that their validator will go offline and they will get some penalties, you know, from the network. Like really, Bitcoin Suisse is taking care of that. So I think that there will in future be also business, maybe also like, you know, with broadcasting the transactions. It's a combination. The centralized and the decentralized world, I believe that they will just coexist together. I'm not really an anarchist saying that, you know, it will all go like pure decentralized and the old world should maybe burn or anything like that. I like both worlds, and I really hope that they will be able to coexist together, and maybe the old world will be able to learn and benefit from one from another. What I like, I currently specialize on payments, and I would like to stay in that area for some time. With the other crypto projects, they are like very quick. Like it's few months, and then it's over, and you move to something else. For example, like you implement something, and then you are assigned to some other project quite quickly. With payments, and for example, with partnered like Worldline or Six Payment Services, as I mentioned, though like they are a huge corporate, and like they are not really used to like bringing things up quickly. Like for them, like they really plan for years ahead. So I think that we will try to like work with them for quite some to really like figure out how we can integrate better. Definitely what I see for the crypto payments as a next very important thing to happen is to look into high scalable solutions or blockchains. Currently, the solution that I work with handles Bitcoin and Ether only. And I'm not sure how you are deep with crypto assets, but the fees for transactions are pretty heavy, and they have been heavy for quite a long time. So what I see how our solution is usually used is for high volume transactions. It doesn't really make sense to buy coffee with Bitcoin. I respect that, and like from somehow a business point of view, I really think and know that at the moment, like the product itself is kind of like nonsense for micropayments. But again, it's fine. I believe in the future we are really building an infrastructure and products and all of the things around crypto payments. And at the moment, there are teams and really bright people working on the scalability issues. And be it, the Lightning Network, which I can say we don't have a public product yet, but we have been playing around with that. Like I've done like a lot of testing of Lightning Network, and it actually works great. So I think that might be something that we eventually bring and offer to our clients. And this suddenly then makes sense. Like you can go and buy coffee, using Bitcoin over Lightning Network. There are some other solutions on Ethereum. There is Ether 2.0 talks. You might many possibilities. You can raise the block sizes. You can I don't know do some sharding and other ways of scaling. And again, there are multiple teams and like the smartest people on this planet working on solving those solutions. And I think it's just a race. And someone eventually will bring a protocol or a technical solution that we will be ready at Bitcoin Suisse with the team and product that I'm working on just to take and adapt. I know that we are able to adapt new technology if it's somehow at least a little bit standardized between weeks of time. So if we see that something there is ready for us to be used, it's quite a lot adopted, we can just like plug it in very quickly and bring it to the market. So this is what I'm really looking forward. I hope that we will be able to have a great infrastructure ready when there is a good, highly scalable solution that is somehow adopted by the people. I see that majority of the transactions that are done through the solution that I work on are done with Bitcoin. So it clearly indicates that people are usually like involved only with Bitcoin. And it's really a question if it will stay this way or like people will start going to others. I mean, there are many different, like it's hundreds, thousands of projects, but I don't really have a strong opinion about them. I'm just waiting. You can like you have the matrix. You can see how many transactions are happening on different blockchains. So we are observing that. I don't know. Solana, for example, seems like a good candidate for payments, maybe as well. Really hard to say. I don't know what will happen, but we'll be ready researching, and when we feel and see that there is a good candidate, we will just take it and plug it in as soon as we can.
So I think now we have already started the questions related to personal, so I'll just pass the word to my colleague Aileen, and thank you very much for answering the questions. It's very exciting and interesting.
Thank you.
Hello, so I will have the personal questions part. I want to start with maybe what type of developments you expect from the future of the cryptocurrencies, but we kind of went through that. But if you have something you want to add on it, we would love to hear that.
All right, let me just pour a little bit of drink to me. I've been speaking a lot and my mouth is just like super dry. Yeah. All right. I will try to get my thoughts somehow around it. So future developments. I really believe in DeFi and DeFi protocols, and yeah, then the scaling. So if I would bet on two different areas, it would be the scaling, and then like the DeFi really being much more mass adopted. And again, I believe that Bitcoin Swiss will somehow bring a centralized way, secure, easy to use, how you can then interact with DeFi protocols very easily. So very similar to the staking, I can imagine that there might be eventually in future product where you will be able to lend out your stable coins or even like other cryptos like Bitcoin, Ether, whatever in some pools directly. So yeah, that would be probably like some future development that I can imagine. But to be truly honest, I have been so busy with my own task, like regarding payments and in that area. So I really stopped researching other areas much. Like in past, like there was Bitcoin and a few other protocols, and I really always try to be up to date. Eventually, like really like back in 2017 or so, I really was trying to read a lot about everything. I was reading all the white papers and really like trying to understand it, make some sense out of it. Eventually, there has been just so much of it, it's not possible to keep track on everything. So even like I'm a big fan of DeFi, I have not really interacted much with the DeFi protocols. I tried it, but I honestly like don't have much of free time to go in that area. So my expertise and like what I try to focus on is really like solo crypto payments now.
So we kind of understand from what you've said that you invest in cryptocurrencies, but I'll still ask, do you invest in the cryptocurrencies or are you a Bitcoin maximalist? Do you believe in any other altcoins? And can you tell us your favorite ones, if that's possible?
Okay, I'm for sure not a Bitcoin maximalist. Although Bitcoin was the first one that I started with him, I still have, I would say, a decent Bitcoin position because I don't think that Bitcoin will go anywhere anytime soon. And again, like we can see it from the corporates that have been simply starting to buy Bitcoin, and they usually buy Bitcoin, at least this is what they announce. So for the time being, it's still Bitcoin first. Personally, I have a pretty big position in Ether, where I was simply betting that it will outperform Bitcoin in this bull run, which seems to be lately happening. And those two assets are pretty much the two that I've been mostly investing in, like really since 2015. That was when I wrote my bachelor thesis. I remember the first Bitcoin that I bought was around 200 each, something like that. And some of those I've been hodling since then. I'm not a big spender. I still believe in the crypto, so I accumulate and hodl. I don't also actively trade. I try to do something that is called dollar cost averaging. So every now and then I simply purchase a little bit more, and that's all my strategy. And it's been playing quite well out. Like I would recommend it to anyone. Also to my friends. I don't really recommend to trade or like go into the other tokens. I think it really requires some kind of learning. If you want to actively trade, you really need to watch the news, and it's not always rational. Like some of the tokens, in my opinion, are really useless and pumping like crazy. And my brother, for example, like he always trades something and he's always writing me and asking, like, what do you think about it and what about that? And I say, I have no idea, like what they do. And he says like, yeah, I don't know, but it's going up. It's like, yeah, but it's always this question. I don't really like this speculation and active trading. Again, maybe it's because I don't have much time to really research and put enough time to that. once in a while I just try to gamble with something, but it's more like a pocket money. Like I really like try something out, but it's no serious investments. So really, like my investment is dollar cost averaging Bitcoin and Ether. Again, I don't want to be a maximalist. I mentioned Solana, which looks quite promising. Bitcoin Suisse have done the ICO of Zilliqa, which has sharding. They have around I think 2,000 transactions per second already on a mainnet. There are already some dApps on it. Something like Uniswap already works on Zilliqa. So I've invested in the ICO, and I have been keeping those investments since then. And I have seen it, going down like 80%, and now it's over again. So again, not actively trading, like investing in some projects that I eventually like, but it's not much. And probably there are some that are pretty cool and pretty interesting, but I just did not have really time to look into that. I have some colleagues which are really crypto-oriented product owners. They take care of internal systems like deposit systems, withdrawal systems, and all around that, and they really actively research different solutions. I mean, if the company supports a few dozen of currencies, they need to know about each of them, how they work, what is the consensus algorithm, how the transactions work, how many decimals they have. So those, I believe, would be probably better ones to answer, like which project to maybe invest in, because they have really studied the protocols in much more depth. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, I'm switching to our next question. I want to ask you, what is the best value or the most valuable lesson from your career or your personal life, of course?
Ooh. Again, a tough question. I mean, joining and working at Bitcoin Suisse was, it really completely changed my life. Like really, like yeah, it's my life right now is really, really different. I can really say that. I expect that in future, like the next big thing will be eventually having a baby, like become a father. So I think that will be a next one. But yeah, that's really hard to say. Like the failures, I invested in bad projects. I lost a lot of money in today's like terms in just investing in the stupid things, and it was like 2017 or so. So that is, I guess, where I learned the lesson about not really trying to gamble and try to outsmart the market. I'm not a trader. I would consider myself an investor. So Bitcoin Suisse generally, to sum up, like that changed my life, completely. Yeah. Does it make sense? I don't know.
Well, it does, yeah. Okay, so I asked you your most valuable lesson. Then I want to ask you any regrets, something you wish you could go back, change maybe?
Not necessarily. As I said, I don't really try to make a long-term plans. I really have a hard time planning like a few months ahead, and I try to be flexible. It's probably the reason behind that is that I'm not really attached to anything closely. No, I am like I have my family in Czechia. I have Bitcoin Swiss in Switzerland, but it's not like I would have kids and they would be going to school, and like I would not be able to easily relocate. So I was always somehow doing to whatever I wanted. I now have a girlfriend. We have been together for quite some time. She also has some wishes. So maybe like this will be a place where I need to consider someone else in my life. So it's not only like what I want, but also that there is someone else that I should consider. So I cannot be that selfish anymore, just to look at me and say, hey Yuri, what is it that you want? But I would say that so far I was able to do most of the things that I wanted. And again, not always you do a right decisions, but it's really fine if something doesn't play out, and you should eventually learn from that. And the crypto investments for me like would be one thing. I started with Bitcoin and Ether. If I never sold all the Bitcoins that I purchased at the time, it would be better, but I'm still doing pretty well. But I just learned by that. Don't invest in things that you don't understand. Try to take it easy. Don't try to outsmart the markets. And yeah, dollar cost averaging. That's all I can recommend to you guys.
While we were researching, we kind of found out that in your company you can receive your salary in cryptocurrencies or in like fiat. What did you select?
Yes, that is indeed something that you can do. I still get my salary in fiat, but every month I invest in cryptocurrencies. And the reason why I do that is that I simply want to choose the time. I want to be like kind of a master of that. Not that I would not believe in crypto assets, but cryptocurrencies might be quite volatile, and you don't want to get a salary after Bitcoin just like went up 20% the week before. It's better if you can like time the buying yourself. And usually, like when I talk about dollar cost averaging, there you invest in like the thesis is that you should invest some amount in a time frames, be it a month, week, quarter, or whatever. This I of course do to a certain extent, but I really like to look for drops. So whenever Bitcoin drops significantly, like I would say like 20% or more, this is usually time when I try to enter the market. So that's probably the main reason why I don't really want to get the salary in Bitcoin directly. I want to be a master of that, and I want to decide myself when I do the conversions.
Okay, so can I ask you about your personal opinion on XRP or Cardano?
Okay, well, it's really my solo opinion with Ripple. I mean, I don't really consider it much as a crypto asset. It's highly centralized. As far as I know, similar, for example, applies to Binance, which has, or BNB, which has been extremely popular. There is also very few validators. Or like pretty much all owned or run by the CZ or like the Binance exchange. So for that reason, like I would probably myself never invested in those two topics. I had although some Ripple position very long time ago, but it was a really minor one, probably like 30 euro, 50 euro equivalent or so, like very small one. It did probably 10x to me, and I sold it, and I never get back to it. So like it's mostly like gambling. It might go up in the fiat valuations, but simply I'm not really interested in those projects. With Cardano. Here I have to admit that I have never really studied the protocol much, but from what I know, it should be actually quite decent one. There should be quite a good research team and a technical team behind. I know that there is also a staking, but again, I have not really studied it enough to be able to have a strong opinion on it. I don't personally invest in that protocol. Again, here I cannot say like with Ripple and, for example, BNB that I would not invest in those. I just didn't have enough time to really study it, which is quite sad because it's a name that I have heard a lot.
So now we have a question from our colleagues. What is your opinion about Nano?
Oh my goodness, please don't go into those questions. I honestly don't know. I have made like 3 transactions with Nano, and I know it was incredible fast and it worked well. But for example, like for me personally, why I don't really look into Nano and like as a next blockchain or thing to add it to the crypto payment solution or the Bitcoin Swiss Pay that we have is that the data clearly shows that it's not massively adopted. So we might add it to our solution, but we know that the users would not use it, although it might be better. Like it might have instant confirmations, and I don't know, like I really like the details about Nano. I don't really remember much. It might be really a good candidate for the use case, but the data shows us that people would not use it. So for that reason, I don't really consider it for the time being. What like if I like would choose something that I really would consider for adding would be probably like the Lightning Network or like some second layer solution for Ethereum, because those two are really being heavily used by people every day.
All right. So my last question will be: could you suggest us a book? But can it please be other than The Lifespan by the Age by David Sinclair? Because I can see that you like that book.
Okay, a book. Let me think. I read a book. I don't know how is it called in English. It's I think like Fact Speaking or something like that. Let me just Google it. Give me a second. I don't know how is it called in English. It's by Hans Rosling. Factfulness. The 10 reasons we are wrong about the world. I can just paste it in the chat here.
It seems our professor also read it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I can really recommend that one. I would say that it kind of changed really the way how I like think about the world now. That I'm much more confident that we are at the best ages ever, and it always makes me sad when I hear people complaining about how terrible the world is, because I actually think it's great and it has never been better. So that will be one book, and there is also one. Damn. It's about, I think it's called like How to Make Friends. I might sound like a strong introvert, which I kind of am, but it's really a book, describing that you should be kind, listen to people, etc. Like consider others in your life. Let me try to again find it.
Is it maybe Carnage?
Yeah, that one. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I guess it's the name in English.
Okay, now I want to give the word back to Tomasz because we have some other questions left. Now that we have a little bit of time, then we can wrap it up. So thank you for answering our questions.
Also, thank you.
Exactly. I think we're going to be slowly wrapping it up. Probably our last question would be, well, we know that right now that you work most of the time and don't have that much time for the research, but maybe once you do, what are the favorite sources that you use? Maybe YouTube or like websites. What is like your go-to?
I usually go to my colleagues directly for interesting things. There are usually interesting articles on medium.com, like regarding crypto, and I follow a lot of people on Twitter, like really crypto relevant people. It's great, like how close using Twitter you can get like to people that have a big influence on the development in that area, and then they very often link to interesting articles or even the academic papers directly. I mean, check a Google Scholar and read or try to search for crypto-oriented papers. In Switzerland, there is a very good technical university. It's called ETH. And there are some people that have done a lot of research in that area. So yeah, you can really read interesting stuff there. I've read a lot of academic papers, in 17, 18, not much lately anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I see that maybe David, do you have the last question, or we could?
I can ask you about your favorite YouTuber according to crypto realm. For example, for me, it would be the Ivan on Crypto, I think his name.
Honestly, I think I don't spend much time on YouTube. I know that there is a Czech guy making videos about Bitcoin and crypto generally, but I mean, this is for Czech people only. He doesn't make it in English. I don't necessarily remember his name. I think it's called Bitcoin channel or something like that. Very, very simple. So this is what I usually recommend to my Czech friends if they are interested in crypto to look into. And then probably the only YouTuber that I know that makes videos about crypto is, I think his name is Data Dash. And the reason why I know about him is because he visited Bitcoin Suisse offices in person. So I've met him. But besides that, I don't really look into YouTube videos. The reason why I don't do that is that I have so much crypto related stuff at my work So the last thing I want to do in my like private and free time is just do more about crypto.
I understand that. Thank you for your answer.
Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you very much for sharing all the experiences and the inspiring story. I think also we ran out of the questions from the chat. I think that there was a lot of said. Thank you again, and I think right now we'll pass the floor to our teacher. So thank you.
Yeah, I also thank you, and I just would like to say that it really was my pleasure to be here. As Jakub said, I graduated from VŠE, so it's really nice to get somehow connected again after a few years.
It was amazing having you. Thank you for sharing your experience and valuable insight. It was great to learn about how a company in Switzerland works. What are the let's say different perspectives and stuff. Thank you to the moderation team. Maybe if there is some other question from the audience, it's like now or never. If not, thank you very much, Jiří, again. And that would mean that we will move to the test.
All right. I wish you all good luck with the test. I'm happy that I don't have to take it myself.
Thank you.
All right, take care. I just wanted to say, I don't know if you have my contact details. I think that Thomas or someone else checked my LinkedIn. I just want to say that if any of you guys have some further questions, I heard David, you said that you were considering Liechtenstein. Yeah, I'm open to communication, so you can just write me and yeah, we can discuss whatever you might want.
Thank you for the opportunity. I will write you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.